the application form, and I'm basically I want to when I did it, I spent a lot of time doing it, and I wish someone told me certain key things that would have saved me a whole bunch of time. So I think I can save a lot of time for you. Just on a few basic points. So for the application form, okay, so when you do an application form, everyone has to do an application form, even if you're doing the emergency application that I did. You don't need an appointment to go to the visa center, but you still need an application form, okay? And so you can find it here in new application form, and um, basically, I don't want to give you like I don't want to go through everything, but I want to go through the main things that I think it'll save people a lot of time and maybe even money, okay? So you can see, so one of the main headaches doing this application is you don't know when it's going to end, so you feel like you might be doing this forever. But look on the side, it does have all the sections, okay? And I'll give you a little bit of I might not go through each one, but there's the main one. So the first bit, um, this thing will actually save you a lot of time if you do it. So basically, if you start a new application form, okay, when you fill out all the details, sometimes you don't get it right the first time, okay? But it doesn't mean you can't fix it. And if you also happen to submit it, you can actually start a new form with all the information that's already been done in the other form. So don't think just because you submitted it and it's got one mistake, you have to start it all over again. Okay, so that's a huge thing because the notion of starting all over again actually really dissuaded me from trying to fix some mistakes. But when I realized this was possible, I did fix them, and you'll want to fix them. Okay, it'll save you a lot of time on the application on the actual day. Okay, so then say you start a new application. Um, so this stuff, I'm not really gonna, I'm not actually be able to get in properly. So um, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but okay, so this is another big one. So it's gonna ask you to upload your photo. Okay, so this is a big one because even if your photo is right, it's probably gonna fail. Okay, and so you could be worried about never getting this done and you can never go to the next stage. But I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So just pick any photo of yourself, doesn't have to be the right one. And you need to upload that photo and basically submit it and it'll say it'll fail. Okay. And then do it 3 times. So it's gonna just let it fail 3 times. Okay. But once it fails 3 times, so what it does is it doesn't accept it, but it lets you just keep the photo there, okay, and it allows you to continue with the form, okay, and that's huge because um that's basically what you need to do anyway because um when you actually go take your application form to the interview or to the actual appointment or to the visa center, you don't actually need a good upload, okay, you just need an actual passport photo, and so just bring a good passport photo with you to the actual visa center, and this part doesn't matter at all, okay. The online application is, in some sense, just to give you just to print an application form out for you. Okay, so that'll save you a lot of time because imagine if you're trying to satisfy the requirements. The software is basically just broken. It's not gonna almost accept any kind of photo. Okay, and if you keep trying to do that, like you might go and get another photographer to take a photo. You're gonna waste lots more money, waste lots more time. But literally, if I knew this ahead of time, it just takes like 3 seconds, just upload, fail, fail, fail 3 times, continue with the application, and then when you get there, just give them a proper passport photo. Okay, that advice is priceless. Okay, you can't undervalue that advice. Okay, and then obviously you got to fill out your details. So one thing to be prepared for is like when it asks you where you're coming from, it's gonna ask the city and also ask for like the county. So it's getting a bit more specific to a bit more specific than you might be used to. Okay, so when it asks your family information, the people like date of birth, and when it asks place of birth, it's gonna ask you like not just like the city of birth, but actually like the county of birth. So you might not be prepared for that, but don't worry, that's probably the worst part of it. Once you fill most of it in, and the important thing I think is not to get stuck on anything and wait. I think it's important to like if something you don't know or you can't do, you should kind of put something there so you can keep moving on, okay, and then come back and fix it later. So then you have an idea what the overall application is going to be like. And most of the time, I think the things that you really need to maybe fix later is like it'll ask you for your flight details. Okay, so you might not have been aware you had to have them for the application. So then you can like book your flight and then fill them in later. Um, for me, I didn't even have for one of my kids, I didn't even have their passport for a while, so I had to wait for the passport information. And um, and even if you accidentally submit your form, you can actually start a new form and use that thing, so that's fine. Okay, so they're gonna ask a lot of information. Most of it you can definitely do, just gonna take a bit of time. So travel information, you might not realize you've booked your ticket or not. For us, we hadn't, but actually we might as well should have because it was an emergency. And then when it gets to the end, it gets really easy. Okay, so some of the other information is really easy. Some of them is just like one question for the whole section, and then a lot of it's like declaring you haven't got any like criminal records or anything, and those pages go really fast. So it's it looks really daunting because on the first page, like your photo information will get stuck. Okay, but like, and then it seems to pile up with like the extra details of the questions, but it does get really easy towards the end. Okay, and then in the end, it goes pretty downhill pretty fast, and don't be afraid to submit the application because once you submitted the application, it's not like that's your visa application. Okay, all it is it saves it in a way that you can't edit it anymore, but you can just start a new form and put all the old info into the new form. Okay, so that's no big deal. And then so the important thing is also, despite having the application form, sometimes you'll need like photocopies of a lot of the stuff you're handing in. So that's something that doesn't look like it's written on the form, but for example, if you're applying for a child, you need like a photocopy of like the parent's passport or something like that, or like a photocopy of or even the like a birth certificate for the child and all this kind of extra stuff. Um, so the one I had, obviously, I was going for like a Q2 visa, so I needed a letter, a photocopy of a letter inviting me to China, and I also needed like the ID card photocopied for the person inviting me. And so just be aware of that. And obviously, if you don't have the photocopies, but you have the documents, there's like a photocopy machine at the center, but it's a big difference between having to stop and get a photocopy and line up and all this stuff than just kind of going in and get it done straight away. So with the proper application form done, I could get into the center. Um, so like I'll explain that in another video about how the application appointment and center actually works. But for one of my applications, I was able to go in and out in 30 minutes, and the entire 30 minutes was just lining up to to submit my documents. Okay, so there was no hitches at all. And there's some of these things I really wish I knew before I did this process, because this would save a lot of time. And I actually know a lot of people waste a lot of time because they try to get this photo perfect, but it's actually like an impossible thing. Like the software just I think has a glitch, and it's really discouraging. And you might pay money for extra photos, and it won't make a difference. Okay, um, and you don't need it. So just bring a passport photo to the actual place. And all this other stuff, I don't want to be too detailed because it looks like I'm trying to tell you what it is, but I'm just trying to give you an impression. Um, yeah, I hope that helps, and I reckon that probably save you at least 2 hours if even if you're like a genius, I think this would save you a lot of time because there's just like no way you can anticipate like just like these nuances, just because random software glitch or like not getting stuck on part of the application form and not going further. And then at the end, you might be forced to submit and you don't know what to do. So, but yeah, those are the main things. And if this helps, just let me know. And I'm glad it helped you. If this is confusing and you want more information or some things could be cleared up, maybe you can let me know as well. But yeah, so I'm gonna also make some videos about the other parts of the application as well. But this application form, everyone has to do it. So it doesn't matter if you're like emergency, you're tourist, visiting family. It's the same basic form, but there might be some minor variations due to documents and stuff like that. Okay. Um, yeah. So all the like express options you can do it when you actually submit the form in person, but there's one other thing maybe like there's one the last section when you're like kind of there's like one page at the end where you basically tick no to everything, like no criminal record and stuff, and there's another page where you basically tick yes to everything, saying like you're aware of like sort of what this document means and stuff. There's like one part where you could change like a yes to a no or a no to a yes to declare something. I'm not really sure how necessary important that is, but for me, I think it was a big deal because I wanted to let people know that I was traveling for an emergency reason, and um, if I didn't have it down, I feel like I might get lost in the application process. But I think ultimately, just like a medical certificate or like something proving your emergency reason would um would override that, and that's the thing you got to show them on the day anyway if you're not getting an appointment. But yeah. Okay, so one thing I want to say also is once you finish the application, okay, you can only get an appointment after you finish the application. So I'm not obviously as expert on getting an appointment because I booked an appointment and I had to cancel it. But basically, once you've done your thing, you go below the new application form to the appointment. Okay, so once you got your application number and the passport number that you put in the application form, you can make an appointment. And so the appointment, depending on where you are, I guess. So here in Sydney, you're pretty much able to get an appointment the next week. So you don't have to wait too long. And then I think when you get in the appointment, you can order a rush service, which gives you the visa the next day. So as long as you get in before 12 o'clock on the day, you can get your visa actually the next day after 12. Okay, but then there's also like 2 days service, and then there's like whatever long service there is. But you can actually get your visa pretty quick after the appointment. So basically, the main wait, if you're doing the visa, is the wait for your appointment, and then when you get your appointment, um, and you submit your application, obviously if you have a lot of problems with your application and you can't get in before 12, that's going to delay you. But once you get your application, once you get to an appointment, then you can almost feel good that you can get your visa very soon. So, within a day, if you get it before 12. Okay, so okay, I'll talk about the appointment and other things in other videos. Also going to talk about like kids visas, travel documents for China. This is not something I'm interested in. It's just something I feel like was necessary. Maybe it could help a lot of people. Like I find this kind of like these kind of things very tedious, and I just want to save time. When I was younger, I couldn't accept that I had to do these kind of things, but I guess once you accept it, then it just becomes a matter of maximizing the efficiency, and you can definitely cut your losses on the time